everyone. Welcome to a little walkthrough by Himalayan Adventure Labs. We have Sudeep here drinking a beer in Kathmandu. It's the evening there, Friday evening, and it's Friday morning in Seattle. Hi, Sudeep. How are you doing?
Not bad, not bad. So like lights went out, in my apartment where I was supposed to, have this conversation. So I found a cafe and a good spot and a cold beer and peanuts.
Okay, so a lot of people, I'm going to jump in and just talk about where in the heck is Nepal for a minute, one of our 10 minutes. And Nepal is, it's really sandwiched between India and Tibet to the north. Last time we were talking about this, there was something you said, Sudeep, that was kind of funny. Do you remember?
Yeah. So like I was, like everyone, most of the Nepalese, like read that phrase growing up in like textbooks, and it says that Nepal is a yam between two big stones, and two big stones being China and India.
Yeah, it really is. And there are only 2 or 3 roads that cut north-south from Tibet into Nepal. And they go through the Himalayas, so they're really perilous roads. So most things come in through the flatlands, the lowlands, the south of India. I think something like 90% of all imports. Crazy. Okay, I'm going to throw a few tracks down here.
Yeah.
I think this time, Sudeep and I did a dress rehearsal of this that didn't work out so well, but this time we're hoping it'll work, and I got the Great Himalaya Trail right there, the high route of the Great Himalaya Trail in red, and it really closely follows the northern border, the highest points of the Himalayas across Nepal. So that's the GHT. And then another great offering that we have is something we're going to be doing next month, and that's the Langtang Fast Pack. Sudeep and I did try and do this lollipop route, leaving Kathmandu on foot. Our goal was to come back on foot. We failed in 2015 because of monsoons, and last year we went back, or maybe it's 2016, and last year we went back with the group and tried to do it in the opposite direction, but there's too much snow. But we're going back in a month, and we're going to try and nail this. I don't think anyone's ever done this. It'll be super fun. Stepping backwards a minute, I want to throw down what we're really here to talk about, and that is the Annapurna circuit. And just to confuse things a little bit, let's look at the top part of the circuit here. You can see it has both lines. So it shares the same trail as the Great Himalaya Trail across the northern part of the Annapurna circuit. And also there's another circuit that's right next. It's just east to Annapurna. And that is, oh, Sudeep, we lost you. All right, well, I'm gonna keep talking, and hopefully Sudeep will reconnect. And that's the Manaslu circuit, and I'm toggling it. There we go. Hey, Sudeep.
Yeah, sorry. I know, like Zoom is acting a bit funny.
That's okay. I was just talking about the Manaslu circuit. I'm toggling it on and off. It also, just like the Annapurna circuit, the northern part of it overlaps with the Great Himalaya Trail, and it also overlaps right in the middle here with the Annapurna circuit. So both the Annapurna circuit and the Manaslu circuit share this part, and they both share the northern section of the GHT.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing good. I mean, my internet is not so great right now, so you might have to, fill in the gaps at times. So yeah, Basi Sahar is this classic trailhead to start the Annapurna circuit if you are going to do it counterclockwise as Seth like to say.
Yeah, most people do it counterclockwise because they're better places to stay in terms of your acclimatization schedule. So you can do it the other way, but most people do it this way. Basi Sahar is the original beginning of the Annapurna circuit. Most people, unfortunately, now continue north by Jeep for quite a ways. Over the last 8 years, they built a lot of Jeep track around the Annapurna circuit, which we are really good at avoiding. We've learned and explored and will continue to explore alternative trails that keep us away from that. But what we'll see our first day when we get here, probably usually around 3 p.m., is it's really hot because we're below 2,000 meters. And when you're below 2,000 meters in Nepal, it's really hot. In theory, this used to be the end of the road, but again, the Jeep track extends. And we're gonna try and go about 2 to 3 hours up this valley before it gets dark on our first day. It's hot, rice paddies. We might get a few glimpses of the big mountains. And
I think like we can see Mount Lamjung from Basisar itself, So if the weather is clear and if we get there, before it gets dark, which we usually do, we might see a glimpse of Lamjung.
Yeah.
I remember like staying at a hotel in Lamjung and seeing this beautiful mountain from my window.
Yeah, usually we don't get really big views until day 2 or day 3, but sometimes on the first day or two, we will get glimpses of these huge Himalayan peaks. This is actually day 2 here. We're cruising up and you can see the GPS track on the right. That's actually an older track, and we've discovered some pretty good alternative trail and stuff on the left side of this valley. And then we cross on a tiny bridge way down here, which I think you can kind of see. And we do a really fun semi-bushwhack, light bushwhack all the way up this hillside and drop in on this town, Bahudanda. And we have a checkpoint here where our permits will get checked, and we drop down the other side. And I love this section of trail. This is really fun.
Yeah. I mean, after you like come down from Bahudanda, the trail, it goes through like paddy fields, it's not too crowded, very few villages, on either side of the, trail. So it's a good section. So the first part, the first half of this circuit, we basically follow a river called Marsangdi, which goes all the way to, all the way to Mount, like near the pass.
Yeah, the Marsangdi River follows right down from the pass, or comes down from the pass. It's a massive river. And as you can see from this track, we are on the east side of the valley gorge here, the river gorge. And on the west side, you can see the Jeep track there. So this is a great example of us being on the east side, avoiding the Jeep track, going through beautiful rice paddies and villages. And then a little further down there, you can see that we actually cross the river and we do join the Jeep track. And I think that's because there's a big landslide on the right side and it's impassable. But this is a good example of, once in a while we do get pushed back onto the Jeep track. But I think we do a great job of avoiding it. And another thing that's good to know here is it's really hard to get lost on the circuit.
Yeah.
I think people get worried about that. They're like, oh, I'm going to the Himalayas. What if I get lost in these huge mountains? This is an incredible gorge. So you can hear the river the whole time. And if you ever take a small trail by accident, or oftentimes we are on small trails, it's easy to get back to the river, and there are villages along the river and stuff. So it would be pretty hard to get lost. Plus, we do a lot of things, like we give everyone great maps. We love to teach how to use GPS apps on your phone, like Gaia Backcountry Navigator Pro. We give everyone GPS tracks who wants to do that. People carry radios. Yeah.
I mean, I was about to, say that if people want to go, on their own pace, so they can carry like radios, and we can check every half an hour or so to check where people exactly are.
I'd say we're about 50 kilometers up the trail here, because this is Darapani. This is where the Manaslu circuit comes in and joins with the Annapurna circuit. Usually people on the Manaslu circuit, they would be almost done. They come into Darapani and then they turn south. We're going to come into Darapani and we'll look east up this valley, of the Manaslu circuit, and that's pretty cool. We actually will cross the valley here and start going up the east side. We found some really fun trail on this side. And this plateau, I think you joined us last year for the first time on this plateau. The year before I had scouted it. Fantastic.
Yeah,
right?
that's quite a find. I mean, great goes to you for like
Thank you.
exploring like side trails,
Thank you.
and it's a lovely section. Like it's like amazing. Like you go through like field of buckwheats, and like we don't see like any trekkers on this trail. So this is like hidden gem.
Yeah.
And we will cross this section on day 2.
Day 2, yeah. It is a hidden gem, and I'm almost sure we'll see no other truckers on it. I'm going to cruise up in the interest of speed. You can see as we're going up, the vegetation is starting to change. It's getting more shrubbery and bushy and less trees. There are still pockets of big pine trees, but things get smaller because now we're getting, I don't know what our exact altitude is, but we're getting up there. Probably close to 3,000 meters. And we go through an incredible village. We spend the night in HAL at the Paradise Hotel, and it is very nice. And what I'm looking for here is Manang. What were you going to say, Sudeep?
I mean, like HAL is before that junction between Annapurna and Manastu. It's like before.
It's
before
like
junction, right?
You're right. I misspoke. Yeah, it's like 2 hours south of Darapani.
But like HAL is like the first day on the trail will be like real long and hard. But the end village where we're gonna stay, that's like a good place to like take rest and see like waterfalls from your bathroom window, from your room window. It's good views.
Yeah, it is. It's a really long, hard day. I'm trying to find HAL here. I can't find it. I don't seem to have a waypoint for it. But yeah, it's just south of this junction where Darapani is. And it's a very long, hard day, but it's a great lodge at the end of the day. And like Sudeep said, you can see waterfalls outside of the back windows of the hotel if you want to stay and have a room facing that. Or from the front, you see the river. And it's a great, wide open kind of delta. River delta is kind of what HAL is. From there we go to Kame. Oh, what were you going to say?
Sorry, I was going to say that like we are already maybe like running out of time, so we need to like keep on going. Second day, we go to Chame. Chame is the capital of district Manang, and if like people want to send like postcards to family members and do some like shopping, I don't know, buy sneakers, like peanut butter, you can do that there. And it has a like cool, not cool, but a warm hot spring in Chame for people, who want to go there.
It's a cool hot spring. Cool in the sense that it's a great setting. Hot because it's hot. And the other thing about Chame I think about is A, it's a super long village. It probably takes half an hour to walk through and we're at the far end of it. B, it is another opportunity where quite often people in the morning wake up and they can see Lamjung and some of these other big peaks. And it's you start getting that sense that you're getting up high. And we have a really nice hike the next day. Part of the section we get off the Jeep track and go through some pine forests for about an hour. I really like that.
Yeah, and like we also cross when we leave Chame on day 3. We also cross this small apple orchard. The place is Bratang, I think. So you can like buy apples, from the store. There's this fancy, orchard, it's on the west side of the road.
Yeah, it's a big operation in Bratang. I feel kind of unsettled about it because I'd like the circuit to be small and not have a lot of commercial activity, but it's bringing a lot of employment. After Chame, we really start getting high. This is where you really, really will see the vegetation change. We get to Pisang and we start climbing up the east side of the valley. There's a real tough climb here. It takes about 40 or 50 minutes, but at the top we have a great little village we stop at, and everyone gets these incredible, now we're high up on the east side of the valley, so we'll see some really big views of the Annapurna range finally, and like wide open 180-degree views, and we just start cruising. This is a really good day. It's a really long day because we're pushing all the way to Manang. Quite often people don't get into Manang until about 5 p.m. and it's a tough day. We've had a few people come in after dark, but we'll be with you, so don't worry about that. And Manang is probably one of the biggest villages. You can almost call it a small town. And we're going to spend our first full acclimatization day here. So we sometimes call them rest days, but they're not really rest days, right?
Sorry?
I was just saying they're not really rest days, are they?
Yeah, I mean, like people have had different view towards our rest days. So like basically we would like to like climb high and then sleep low. So we encourage people to go on a hike on their rest days. And then the fun fact about Manang is there's a cinema hall in Manang, and which plays same movies every time. So actually there's a good choice of movies in that cinema. But I don't know if people will feel like like sitting inside a like theater when they are like outside in the mountains.
Yeah. So they're playing 7 years into Tibet or whatever over and over again, but in caravan. The good thing to know about Manang is it's a rest day. You're going to climb high, sleep, come back down. We'll spend the we'll stay in the same hotel or lodge that night. But the really good thing to know is it's a good place to get socks or other gear that you might have forgotten somehow or lost or whatnot. There's some small gear shops that charge reasonable prices. So if you're missing something or you suddenly decide you really want an umbrella or something funny or extra jacket, you can get that there. We're already out of time and we're only a third of the way around the circuit. So I'm going to start flying from Manang. We also organized a super fun children's race in Manang on that.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that, but yeah, good thing that you mentioned it.
Yeah. This normally, if you look at the track, we're going up this valley after Manang, but we probably will actually go up this valley a ways, and we might spend a night up here and then cross this kind of little ridge and drop down to the river and then climb back up. There is some chance, Sudeep and I need to explore this more, that we might continue all the way up this valley to a place called Tilicho Lake and then drop down the other side. We would cross rarely used pass over here, but we need to do more research on that, and a lot depends on the weather and things like that. But we've talked about that with the group, and everyone seems amenable to that potential change. But what we probably will do, or if the past is a example of the future, is we'll continue up and we'll cross the traditional pass, Thorong La, and La means pass in Nepali. So we'll spend a night in Thorong Pheti. We'll go from Manang to Yakarka and spend a rest day in Yakarka, which is back here, or possibly up the other valley. And then it's only like 2 or 3 hour walk from Yakarka to Thorong Pheti.
Yeah.
But now we're at high altitude, really high.
After Thorong Pheti, we will. So we stay at Thorong Pheti for the night, and then the next day, we push, to the pass, and on the other side of the pass, Muktinath, a small village called Muktinath. So while we cross the pass, the day will be long, but we will, most probably divide the group into two, and then, check, every 30 minutes, how everyone's doing, and soak in the views, while we, go towards the pass. So we will take it easy while we cross the pass, and then right at the pass, there is a tea shop, so we can stay there, and if people are feeling chilly or cold, they can grab hot chocolate and take some pictures. And some people would like to, climb a bit further, on the side of the pass to get more, I don't know, elevation on their watch.
Yeah, the pass is at 17,800 feet or 5,406 meters, something like that. For people who care about feet, we've had some people on our trips who really want to get to 18,000 feet. So they scramble 200 more feet up this talus slope. There's a faint goat trail, and they achieve their 18,000 feet. This is usually the highest most people have ever been. And it is very high. And, we do a lot to be careful. We have, we check everyone for signs of altitude sickness, and we have a remote physician on call and stuff. Something I want to say about this hike up to the pass is be sure you turn around and take in the views, because the views behind you are just incredible. And the view also when we get to the pass is really cool, because we're looking at the far west of Nepal, really. We're looking at Dolpo, dead west, straight ahead of us, and to the north or northwest is Mustang. And both are magical places in Nepal. I wish we had a lot of time to talk about them. I'm going to start picking up the pace here. We have Muktanath, which we spend a night in at the Bob Marley Lodge. There's an incredible Hindu temple here, which is a very holy site. We cruise down the next morning on the northern side of this valley through some Tibetan villages. Really great running now. I should mention that when we come down from the pass, a lot of people start running, and here we're running. What you see there, the red line, looks like that's actually the GHT. I must still have that displayed. So I'll toggle that off just so it's not confusing. And because the GHT just continues west, we're going to drop south here. This is where we kind of turn and start doing the last leg of the circuit, but we will stop for a minute and look north into Mustang. There's a great resting spot here right before we drop into the village of Kagbeni, and we're hoping to run a trip soon to Mustang. It's a really, really incredible place. But instead we're going to go south, and we'll cruise through a place called Kagbeni, which is kind of an oasis, and then we will be on the Jeep track for just a tiny bit, like 10 minutes, and we cross and do this really interesting alternative kind of deviation detour, which seems totally unnecessary because you could just go down the Jeep track. But this is really cool. We go through the villages of Phalic. Do you want to talk a little bit about Windy Tower or Radio Tower Pass?
Well, I mean, it might seem as, unnecessary. If you look at the distance, we will add more distance by doing this detour, but it is a good way to, explore Tibetan villages, up north on the, ridge. So villages of Phalic, and there's another village, I forgot the name. So we cross those rivers, and then carry on the trail, and most of the time we will see sheep herders, with their sheeps, trying to get to Jomsom. So there is a radio tower, up on the ridge. So that's where we, cross and come down towards Jomsom, and we like to call that place a windy radio tower because it's quite windy,
It's always windy. Yeah, you got to hold on to your hats up here. And there are no radio towers here in Google Earth. I'm not sure why, but they're right here. And this is another really unique section of trail we never see any other trekkers on. Maybe like Sudeep said, just a sheep herder or so, yak. I don't know if they're yaks here, but they're great fossils you might find. It's a real slippery descent. We go through Jomson. Usually the wind picks up on this side of the circuit. Now we're following the Kalagandaki River gorge down, and the wind just comes up here starting at about 1 p.m. So we'll be battling this headwind. We're going to spend the night in Marfa, which is right here. It's an incredible place. famous for apples. We'll have apple brandy, apple pie, apple crumble, and apples, and leave with our pockets stuffed full of apples. We'll go through orchards, and some apples might fall out of trees.
I mean, the thing is, we like to sample, apples, from the apple orchards.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, from a Nepali point of view, that is.
This is a great day. I really enjoy this day, and especially when we're on the left side here of the valley. We do some really fun trails where we are like high above the river, and it's just very scenic, and usually the weather's great. We might see 2 trekkers all day on this side. Other trekkers, typically when they get to jumps in, they'll jump in a Jeep or they'll jump in a plane. Actually, there's a small airstrip there, and they'll get out because they bagged the pass, and that was their goal all along, not really to trek and go through villages and be on other sections of beautiful trail, I think. But I'll reserve my judgment or try not to let that spill into here. I think it's really important that you start in Besi Sahar and go to Nayapol and experience all the wonderful things that the circuit has. And we've been doing this for 4 years now. This is our 5th year. And I think we've learned a lot, and we have a lot to share. What I wanted to do is I wanted to zoom down to the climb. What were you going to say, Sudeep?
Yeah, I think we should zoom out and talk about a few places, and then wrap it up.
Yeah,
so,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I agree with you. Like most of the people, think that, oh, we have seen the mountains from the past, and we have been to Manang and then Zomzom, but the west side, the west section is, has some amazing trails, and we can see good views of Dholagiri, as we descend down the Kaligandagi River.
Yeah.
And so there is a place called Tatopani, down on the west side. From Tatopani, we go south, but we climb this, long section, of stairs, and we climb about 1900 meters from Tatopani to Ghorepani. So that's a long, hard day, and some people have said that it's even harder than climbing the pass. So once we are up at Ghorepani, we stay there for the night, take a good rest, and then the next day there is a viewpoint called Punhel. So it's like 45 minutes away from Ghorepani. So that's the last chance of seeing the 360 or 300 degree view of the Himalayas. So many people from Pokhara come for a day or two trek to Punhel to get a glimpse of the Himalayas from Punhel.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of trekkers here in Ghorepani. Like Sudeep said, it's one of the shortest treks you can do in Nepal, and hopefully get a view of the Himalayas. And we'll be doing that trek in reverse that morning after we climb up to Punhil and we look at the view with all these tourists. We will drop down and.
Sorry, I like how you say hopefully. Hopefully the trekkers will see the views, because the best views, I think we will get the best views, on the circuit. That's a bit boastful, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think about 50% of the time we have clear skies on Punhil and we get views. It's maybe a little less than 50%. For most of people on our trips, we've had lots of incredible views for the last 8-10 days. So, it's kind of a bummer if it's fogged up or cloudy. But for these people, it's really a bummer, I think. And we have, just like the day before, getting to Ghorepani was a really tough climb up, really tough. We do the same thing as a descent. So we drop down something like maybe 1,700 meters, maybe 5,000 feet down on a lot of stairs. They aren't literal stairs, but they're rock kind of stairs and stuff. Going through a lot of villages. we're getting lower and lower and lower below. Gorapani's at 3,000 meters. We're going to get down, I think, probably close to 1,000 meters at the end, or maybe even under that. And it gets hot and tropical again, very humid. It should just take us like 4 or 5 hours, and then we'll be at Naya Pol. Naya Pol stands for New Bridge. It's the official end of our circuit, and we will do a lot of high fives on this rusty bridge, which is not so new anymore. And probably have a quick bowl of noodles or a cold drink or something while we check out with the park system. And then we jump on a Jeep or a bus. We'll arrange some transport, and it's about 2 hours to Pokhara. And what are we doing in Pokhara?
We rest and we party.
We rest and we party, yeah. I always have a hard time finding Pokhara, and we are out of time here. But Pokhara is about 2 hours or so, and it's on a lake, and it's beautiful, and there's lots of shops. You can put all your dirty clothes in a bag and buy some new beach clothes or something for under $10 and have some clean clothes to ride home in the next day to Kathmandu. But we'll have a cool after party in Pokhara. We'll go to the Busy Bee bar maybe.
Yeah, pub, bar, club, all into together, all at once.
Yeah. So I'm going to zoom out and kind of show where we were again. Bessie Sahards, sorry about that. And hey, there's Pokhara, finally your waypoint. So you can see Pokhara and that lake. The waypoint for Pokhara is in kind of the wrong place. We'll be right on the edge of this lake. Pokhara is the second biggest city in Nepal, so it's grown a lot. I was in Pokhara like 30 years ago or so, and almost 30. And it was a much smaller place, but it's gorgeous. You may still have some views, especially.
Yeah, Pokhara is getting, like bigger and bigger. Like Pokhara, they are building like international airport, which is under construction. So that will change the whole dynamics, once it's been built.
Yeah. Well, cool. Hey, Sudeep, we went way over our 10-minute time limit. Maybe that was completely unrealistic to think we could, really not get sidetracked, because there's so much to talk about and look at in Nepal. And, of course.
Yeah, I mean, also like we missed like so many things, like that we want to talk about. But I think that's enough right now. Yeah, maybe we can do like longer version, like next
time. I think that's a sign that like time to wrap.
Yeah, I think this cafe is like getting closed down, so I better get going. Why?
I hope the electricity is working again in your apartment, and this has been really fun, Sudeep, and I'm excited to see you in a month for the Langtang Fastback, but really excited to see you in September for our 5th annual Annapurna Fastback. It'll be super fun.
Yeah, I'm like really looking forward to both the trips. And thank you everyone, who have signed up for Annapurna Fastback. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. All right, man. I'll see you later.
Okay, Seth. Have a good day.
Okay.
And see you until next time.
Okay. And my camera's too low, but you also get this awesome t-shirt.
Woohoo!
All right. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.